All right, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morning, whenever it is you tune in. Hope all's well. Better enjoy this 3-day weekend you're about to get to. So that's always fun. Um, since we're here, there's a couple of things that I want to share. Uh, well, for me, let's just take a look at this for a second.
Always.
While we await some people here. Yeah, I got this on the show now too. So, that is from my YouTube channel. I'm bringing it over here just to showcase that, hey, that's what you got on my intros whenever I'm making that upload, which I did earlier today, in case anyone else is interested in checking that out. I'm making a series where I'm the head coach of the Packers in 2006, and I just had one of the best off seasons I can imagine. So I just had like 8 or 9 Pro Bowlers and stars on this team that haven't even like hit their prime yet. So feel pretty good about that situation there. And then we have my next episode, which is the draft. So if you're interested in that series, you can take a look at that. So while we wait here, let's get a look at some of these comments, and then we're going to get into our main topic, of course. So we have, and the real roll call. It's currently 3 people big, but we've got the RC Plane Builder. Good afternoon yourself. We have D. Coleman, and we have the therapist. You have Marlon Johnson. Oh, you also have Javier. And they have a choice: Trey Young, Don Murray, John Collins, Sacred Bay. Well, I'm not all that big in basketball. You probably don't want my opinion on that kind of stuff. And Trey's a Golden State Warriors fan, so he's not got the best opinions on that either. So let's get into sculpting our depth chart for this team. We obviously have a lot of locked-in positions, if you will. But for the moment, I'm going to take a look at our player roster, name a couple of people at the position, and if need be, we're going to look at the free agency list too, just to see if there's any other guys on the market that we can make some sort of last-minute acquisitions either before or during the camp period. So let's get this underway by, if you're familiar with my streams, then you should know that I already have some sort of Excel spreadsheet on this. So, Trey, if you want to start naming out some obvious offensive starters.
Marcus Mariota, Drake, KP, Chris Lindstrom. I'm trying to figure out a running back because we still do have CP and Ty, but for right now, I'm gonna say Tyler Algier and Jake Matthew, of course. And really, that's really the only locks I see on the offense as of right now.
Did you mention Lindstrom?
Yeah.
They spell with 2 T's, right? Man, my typing is being exposed right now. All right, so you said Mariota, Jake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Jake Matthews, Clint Lindstrom. You weren't so sure about CP.
Because, The thing is, I don't know if we use him. Well, of course, you want to use him a lot, but I don't know if he would start. You could imagine in a very position. You could put him at the wing position. Maybe the slot, because he did play a lot of slot back in Detroit and Chicago. I mean, not Detroit, but Chicago and New England. And
Okay, I don't know what you were.
No,
I don't know what was going on, but
you're
really choppy.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Technology's always messing with us, man. Always our show too. I don't know why. Always our show.
Anyways, D Coleman, free the stash is. I freed more than that. I got to a situation where I couldn't trim just above the lip because my hairs were not cooperating with my scissors. So once it got to that point where it was just starting to dip into my upper lip, I was like, I just got to get rid of it because that gets annoying. Let's see here. He shuts up. Yeah, of course. So let's go back to defense then.
Got more of a clear-cut view of who's going to start on this one. So, of course, you got really your main big three in Grady, AJ, and Casey. Slot, I would say IO. That's really a lock. Safeties, I say Jalen and Richie as a lock too. Linebackers, who would really start at linebacker? Because you don't know if Deion's going to be on the team still. You still got Rashawn Evans and Michael Walker and of course Troy Anderson. And did we not sign another linebacker?
Nick Wikowski?
Yeah, Nick Wikowski. But really, I think that was just
there's a Michael Walker too.
Yeah. So I probably say Rashawn Evans and Michael Walker as linebackers, and then Lorenzo Carter as well, and then because I don't know if you put Taquan Graham or Marlon Davidson because they're kind of fighting for that 2 spot on the D line right now. And then you got Anthony Rush. So I say Anthony Rush and Taquan beside Grady the other side.
All right, that's enough to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys on the field. Did you say Jalen Hawkins?
Oh yeah, him too.
What do you want instead?
We put a lot of ones. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jalen.
Okay. All right. Now this leads us to we have a quarterback situation, we have a running back situation, we have a tight end situation, we have wide receiver 1, we have left tackle, we have right guard on offense. So obviously the backup quarterback is going to be Desmond at the moment. Second wide receiver is going to be
I'll say Auden Tate.
Tight end 2.
Why do I keep forgetting his name? What is
Give
his
me a
name?
hint.
We just got him from the Titans. I mean,
Oh, Anthony Firkser?
yeah.
RB2.
Cordell.
Now, yeah, Vlad joining us. How's it going? All right. Let's go back to. All right, who's going to be behind Grady?
Hmm. Who was that D lineman we signed out of after the draft? The undrafted free agents. He's 6'6", or 6'5", like 320.
All right, I'm going to go to our depth chart here. I have a 6'4", 320 guy in Timmy Horn from Kansas State.
Yeah, him.
Okay, if AJ were to go down, who'd be cornerback 1?
Darren Hall.
If Casey were to go down, who's cornerback 2?
Why do I keep forgetting his name? You got the depth chart of all the corners we got on the team.
Yeah. So at the moment we have Darren Hall, Matt Hankins, rookie, undrafted rookie out of Iowa, Casey Hayward, Isaiah Oliver, Tease Tabor, AJ Terrell, DeAndre Alford, Cornell Armstrong, Corey Ballantyne, Mike Ford, Lafayette Pitts, Trey Webb.
I say Tease Tabor.
Tease Tabor. If Oliver were to go down, who's cornerback 3?
That's a tough one because really all the cornerbacks that we signed are kind of like outside. And really Darren was meant to be the slot, but he's kind of like that reserve outside too.
I mean, you can put him in the slot because I have another option
So,
for outside guy.
I probably have this. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go, Darren.
Because here, for me, I'm going to put D. Alford there.
Okay.
It's a bit bold at the moment, but I think he'll be good enough to do it. All right, now behind Richie Grant.
Eric Harris.
Sorry?
Yeah, you hear me?
All right, your connection is just not being your friend today.
Oh my god, this storm must have really killed it today, man.
All right.
Yeah,
Here's an
Eric
interesting
Harris.
question brought up. Okay. We don't see Damian Williams as RB1. Now, Coleman, if you can, what's your number one reason as to why you would have him at RB1? because I already kind of explained it in another stream as to why I wouldn't want him as a number one back, because for me he's like 30 years old. He hasn't had that same kind of workload in the past. Like, he's never really been that running back one. Whereas Tyler Algier, he has been the number one back for a couple of years. And he's just younger with the fresher legs and more physical stature in order to take the responsibility of what Arthur Smith wants him to do. So that's kind of our reasoning as to why I would put my confidence more in Algier right now than Damian. Not that I don't think that he can be on the field, because he can certainly get some action. So if anything, for me, like, I'd probably switch around. I'd probably switch out Cordero for either him or it's Quadri Allison. So what would you prefer then? And all right. Well, it looks like we're going to be without Trey for the rest of this show. But no matter. Not when I can do this. All right. Whoever wants to come up, speak their piece as to what we can accomplish here together. I'm trying to get this underway. All right. Now, if you still need it, I have the full player roster as well. Like I said, I have the free agency tracker as well. If we want to make any sort of predictions as to what we can pick up afterwards, if we're not confident in a certain area, it's more for afterwards once we filled out who we want. I'm going to just take the luxury of making sure that Koo is our kicker. And that's kind of it. So we're going to need him. I'll just spread that out. We're going to need Brinkley, the long snapper. So we'll do that. Now, I know that we just signed Bradley Pinion. I don't know if I want to immediately elevate him to punter 1, but I think we'll we have a lot more problems in this team than our second string punter. All right. If you're thinking about Williams having more significant playing time than Quadri and Tyler, you can still see that. Like, our predictions are as good as each other's. So, I mean, I wouldn't really be too mad for either option as long as they know that they're the best guys on the roster. Now, this offensive line is going to be really interesting. So, Richie Grant, he mentioned that Eric Harris was going to be behind Richie Grant. So then after Jalen Hawkins, I'm pretty sure that would be Marlowe. So then here, elsewhere, what are we thinking? Do I want to try to fill out the rest of the offensive line? Do you want to figure out who our linebackers in the second string slot are going to be? Because I think Rashaan Evans and Michael Walker right now, because you're not going to have Debo, most likely, at least to start the season. Oh, Tyler has the ground running, though. He was my second favorite running back after Hassan Haskins. Still kind of bummed we didn't get him. Yeah, Hassan, he was kind of in that range for me. It was either going to be, depending on how they valued the running back position, I was either going to think of like either Rachaad White, who went in the 4th round to Tampa Bay, Because I was also thinking Pierre Strong, who went to the Patriots. But then Tyler Algier was always kind of in that mix for me. So, yeah, I'm not really regretting the fact that we didn't take the other two people. I just don't like the fact that where they went. Like I don't like that Pierre Strong went to the Patriots because I don't think they're going to use him right. I don't like that Rashad White went to the Bucs because I know they're going to use him right. So it's just one of those situations. Let's see. How do you guys feel about Lorenzo Carter like automatically starting, or having Taquan Graham as among here? Because if we're trying to go off of what Trey gave us, so we're going to have Grady on the line, we're going to have Anthony Rush on the line, we're going to have Lorenzo Carter, we're going to have Taquan Graham, we're going to have that's 4 right there. Follow that up with 2 linebackers, 3 corners. All right, so he's having us go with some sort of a 4-2-5. Right, we got Tony. Good to see you. I just saw someone that was trying to make an appearance, and I was gonna let him get up here. If you're curious, you don't have to take your camera out. I just want to be able to hear you guys correctly. So when you do want to hop on, all right, you're gonna say that Lorenzo Carter should start. All right. I don't know. For me, I'm just a little bit hesitant because I don't want to make it seem like he's gonna have the job no matter what. I don't think he's been that type of player in the NFL where he can just walk in and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be the starter moving forward." Because sorry, but I know that you had like 5 sacks on the Giants, and that would have been more than what we had on our leading sack. But that's still not that much of a difference. That's like reintroducing Dante Fowler back in the mix for me, at least. I know they do similar things, but I'm just seeing like the numerical results. Vincent Taylor might snatch TQ or Marlon's spot if they don't produce. They do different things, you know. You also can't forget that Timmy Horn's there too. So it could be either or to snatch those things. But like I said, Marlon would probably be behind Grady for me. Although I do like Timmy Horn also kind of taking that role. It was a lateral move, no doubt, from Fowler. Yeah, I could see that. All right, then. As far as our linebackers, I think, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so there's our starting 11. Like I said, 4-2-5 type of front. Sean Evans isn't on the field. I think that's when we'll put Troy Anderson. And then for Michael Walker, if he doesn't make the field, I understand that Deion Jones is going to be on the roster, but let's see. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna switch these around because I like the idea of there. I think I spelled that right. Omar, I hope they do well this season. But yeah, hey, I'm right there with you. Vlad, do you have any players that can make the roster that will take people by surprise? Well, if you want to hop on the show and I can answer that right to you. Tony Wright, Mr. Depth Chart himself. This is right up your alley, man. You can come join me right now. Save you a lot of typing. Lay that responsibility on me. Streams brought to you by High Quality H2O. Right, moving on. We have a lot of sneaky good components for our backup safeties as well. You know, I'm thinking like, what was it, Matt Hankins and Brad Hawkins? I do want to give them a chance, and I don't say, yeah, sorry, you can't make the roster. You'd be here. It's super loud at the moment. Got feeling otherwise I'd be on there. All right. No problem. So instead, like I said earlier, but I have the free agents tracker over here. So I've been looking at that every now and then. And I don't know what happened to Justin Houston. But I think that just having him in the room with Arnold Ebiketie would be like a fantastic pairing and just our edge rushing room. Because, you know, a lot of people have mentioned it already. It's so young and that has its upsides. But the downside is you're not going to have that nice veteran presence there, you know? Like, even when we had Dwight Freeney back in 2016, like, he wasn't going to be the best pass rusher on the team, but he elevated the play of the other guy on the opposite side of him. So, you know, I would love to see that type of addition, you know? All right, so what do we got here? We have starting guys, Carter, Evans, Walker, and an Ebiketie. Now, if we got to suit up 11 people, am I going to have to remove Graham? I'd probably lean towards removing Graham from here. So everyone else, like, okay, he's starting safety. He's starting safety. We have 3 starting corners, and I'd like to have them on the field as often as possible because they're amongst our top players. We have two linebackers that should be good enough, and then obviously we can't forget Grady, and then the help alongside him on the D line. So I think if we're gonna have anyone else there, I would love to have Ebiketie be that starter over Graham. So I think if you want to put them there, I'll put him there. And then maybe not to back him up, but I think that if Lorenzo goes down, do you think that's the spot for Malone? All right. To answer that question, yes. Dean Pease really likes Dean Marlowe, who's versatile and can play free safety, so I expect the Falcons to release Eric Harris, then move Dean Marlowe to back up free safety role. You don't really need to release Eric Harris in order to make that possible. And if Eric Harris came back, then that means that Dean Pease might have some sort of affection for him as well. Because we had a lot of people leave, and for good reason. So I think I'm probably more optimistic towards Dean Marlowe than I kind of was towards Daron Harmon. As weird as that sounds, because Daron Harmon had more of the pedigree. And Brad Hawkins is the backup. I like including our UDFAs here on this depth chart because, like, although they're not going to automatically get this spot just because we placed them here, but that also means that we're still keeping everyone in mind when thinking about this, and it's not just, oh, hey, well, you're you're the known commodity, so we're going to just put you over here just because I know you and I don't know you yet, So I think right now, until anyone tells me otherwise, I'm going to put D'Angelo Malone here. And then Anthony Rush. Let's see. So anyway, saying, goodness gracious. Vincent Taylor might pack him. Now, all right, how about this question? Ebiketie or Ogundeji? Yes, that was an English question. Man, this thing takes me back to the not so good old times of me having to start this entire thing on my own. Let's see. Backup D line, take 1 Graham, Vincent Taylor, and we need to sign another veteran D end in free agency to be a backup. I do agree, but that might happen during the season. I was visiting doctor. What's happening to yourself, man? Good to catch the stream. So right now we're just anyone coming in. We're just sculpting out the depth chart. We have a lot of obvious names taken care of. So now we're just kind of getting into the meat and potatoes of this discussion. We did have Trey, but his connection where he was, it just was not compatible. So he decided to take a dip. I was like, all right, fine. I still have the stream link if anyone else wants to hop on. Love to have some back and forth banter. I think it's still starred or, posted in a spot where you can see it. If not, then I can just kind of highlight it myself. Again, if you do want to come on, just make sure that your connection is relatively okay. I think it doesn't take much in order to be better than Trey's. So, all right, what else do we have here? Because at the moment because we're trying to get down to our final 53, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33 players. All right, so now we have 20 more players to fill up. Obviously, at the moment, I'm just going to include Deion Jones. If you're wondering, I don't think that Calvin Ridley's spot on the roster would actually weigh into the sum. Because he's probably more on like a, not just like a suspension, but more like a commissioner's exempt probably. We may trade him. If there's going to be some sort of a trade, it's going to be after this season. Because one, they're probably not going to be comfortable trading him when he's already injured and he's already kind of rehabbing. So I get the conversation about the salary cap space. I was trying to talk to Mike about that a while ago. And, and he was talking about how good of a player he was. And while I do agree, I did consider the outcome of, hey, well, he's making the most money on our, like his base salary is like the highest out of anyone that we have on the roster right now. So, Coach Unchained, nice of you to join us. If you just got here, we're finishing out the final 20 spots of a roster, probably 19 now because I just added Dion. I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, what would we consider starters? What would we consider backups at the moment? Third stringers, I'm just going to put them underneath as second stringers at the moment because we want more competition in these rooms, obviously. So there's going to be some more names that are going to be overflowing than others. Oh, well, we haven't touched a whole lot of the offensive side of the ball, and that's kind of a good thing, honestly. So we have a lot of more of our. We got Jarvis here. Hey, if you're available, I can send you the link again. I see why you're doing your thing. Keep pushing forward, reaching new heights. Much love to you. Hey, much love to yourself, man. Appreciate everyone. All right. So yeah, back to the question: Ebiketie or Ogundeji? Or do you want to just give the keys to Ebiketie right now, or do you want to say, hey, let's hang on for a moment? I know he was a 5th-round draft pick from a year ago, but Ted, dang it, man, Troy McElhaney just said it in the Final Whistle podcast. Our coach's name, Ted Monachia or something. Our linebacker coach is really excited about the production that Ogundeji would provide. So I'm wondering if that means that he could be a starter more so than Ebiketie at the moment, or maybe more so than Lorenzo. You know, maybe that's the conversation. Maybe instead of Ebiketie versus Ogundeji, maybe it's Carter versus Ogundeji. Because I think that both spots are up for grabs. You know, it's good to have a rotation, but you need to make sure that, hey, there's a dominant guy in the room. So at the moment, I'm just going to place. I think I spelled that right. It's been a minute. Who else we have? I think we have 18 spots now. Right. Okay. You're going to spell it that way? I think yeah. I got the same thing. All right. Fair enough. Now, let's shift our focus to other side of the ball. All right. So we have one wide receiver at the moment, and then Auden Tate is going to be behind him. So now I think I want to add Bryan Edwards to this discussion. And then if he can't make the field, then what do we want? Do we want to go Zacchaeus there? Because I'm trying to think about, all right, well, whatever routes you want to give Bryan Edwards, the guy behind him is probably going to have to do the same thing. So let's take a look at our wide receiver room and see who would be another viable option. So we have Zacchaeus, Arden Tate, Drake London taken care of. All right. The rest of the people, we have Tyshawn James, Kadero Hodge, obviously Bryan Edwards, Frank Darby, Demir Bird, Stanley Berryhill. You have Jared Bernhardt. I think he's more of a special teams guy, but I would not be surprised. Cameron Batson and then Geronimo Allison. Now, in terms of size, if you just want to go off of the physical stature, remember Bryan Edwards is 6'3", 215. The next closest guy to his size would probably be Geronimo Allison at 6'3", 202. Going back to this, so if we don't trade him, why do we sign Kwiatkowski in free agency, who was a starter last season in Vegas, plus rejected Anderson and signed Rashaan Evans, who will start? If we don't trade him, and that's only going to mean, hey, here's a guy with more, dang it, like Chris Collinsworthisms. He's a guy in the locker room. You know, he's been there since 2016, obviously. So you want more veteran presence, not just in the system, but also just in the building. And I think that that's more valuable than one might realize, especially if he's going to be the guy that has been a captain of the team. He's been the leader. He's been the vocal form of that defense for a couple of years now. He's seen the height of his career as a rookie. I think that's still valuable experience to keep in the room. We have Michael Walker who should start. 5 inside linebackers in the roster. One of them will have to go if we keep Dion, which makes no sense. Still, again, I'd rather have him than not have him in the room, but it still goes back to the okay. Well, what do you value him if you're another team? He's injured. He's the most expensive player on our team, so that's going to knock down his value a couple pegs. If you want to get anything more, then you're gonna have to make a tough sell. Could DM be put on the PUP list to start the season to heal from mid-season trade? Ooh, excuse me. That is an option. I do like that as an option. Yes, Adoree Anthony. Yeah, we can't forget how good he was in the preseason. Who's talented? We have to keep him. We can move him into the practice squad. I agree. Although he's not technically safe there, much like Caleb Huntley wasn't safe when we put him on the practice squad. Although nothing really happened to him, so he's still technically on the roster. We also got to forget about the other tight ends that we have. Dang it! Just realized we have like 5 different more tight ends other than Pitts and Ferkser, because we're doing whatever we want to do with Felipe Franks. We just drafted John Fitzpatrick, who I think can also be a really good tight end 3 option, possibly tight end 2, depending on the run scheme. We have Parker Hesse, however you want to say his name. That had some experience in last couple of games of last season. So you have that as an option. Then you have Tucker Fisk. Oh, I haven't read a whole lot about, but I think the room is confident in his abilities as well, whatever they might be. So, all right, let's get this conversation rolling as to what our wide receivers will be, because that's what we ended off of last time. Let's say, all right, worst case scenario, Drake goes down, or just Bryan Edwards goes down, and we need to figure out that other wide receiver that can do the same things. Because I don't know how much of the playbook that's going to change if we put Edwards where OZ would be, or vice versa. Okay, so you have Hesse starting at 3rd, and Franks at 4th. So is that John Fitzpatrick at 5th? Bird, I like Bird, but not as an X or Z receiver. He's definitely going to be the slot guy. If we had the questions about Russell Gage being a slot guy for all those years, Bird is going to be the epitome of a slot guy. He's probably going to take the role of Cordero Patterson if he were to go down, honestly. Because I've seen him line up in the backfield. I've seen him line up in the slot. I've seen him line up, in shotgun right beside the hip of the quarterback. So he's another guy that you can move all around too. So he's going to provide some sneaky good value. The problem is he's like 5'9", 175. So I don't like that frame, because we've seen the struggles last season. OZ should slot 2. I do agree with that. Although he has more experience at X or Z than we might remember. So, all right, let's take a look here. We have London, Cordero Patterson, Edwards at 3, Zacchaeus at 4, Auden Tate at 5, Frank Darby at 6. The rest need to be gone. Whew. All right. Sorry, all these other receivers that we have. Yeah, because we have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 receivers on the roster. So half of them you're going to say, let's just get rid of all of them. Ooh. Going back to this, if we have to let go of anyone, you got to remember, we have more slots open in the practice squad. So if we need another emergency spot, then just throw Etheridge there. You throw Deion Jones on the PUP list, and then you can, give everyone else. Do we need another outside receiver? It depends on the pedigree and the namesake that you're looking for. Because technically we have outside receivers, but the problem is that everyone's so new in that room that the only ones that have stayed is Zacchaeus and Darby. Everyone else is brand new to us, technically. Like we've never seen Geronimo Allison start for us in the Falcons uniform. Neither can we say that with Cameron Batson, Stanley Berryhill, Jared Bernhardt, Demir Bird, Brian Edwards, Daryl Hodge, Tyshawn James, Drake London yet, Auden Tate. And those are 10 of the 12 guys in the room. So not that we don't have one. It's just who can we pinpoint to say that, all right, if this guy goes down and I don't want to have to move the entire playbook around, then who can do that for me? So for me, it would probably be Allison, but he's like the most recent guy we have outside of Cameron Batson. Obviously, you need about like 5 or 6 receivers on the roster. So maybe I'm investing too much into the actual frame of the player and not just taking a look at what they're good at and what their skill sets are, because maybe you got to consider that guy that can run block. Alameda Zacchaeus can run block despite his size. Zacchaeus is also that guy that we can coach too, that Arthur Smith just loves to have. So I think right at the moment, Zacchaeus, I think I'll put him there. And then that slot guy, I'll go with the guy that has more outside experience. So if we need a slot guy and it's not Patterson, then I'm going to say Bird. Why the heck did I put a space bar there? And then after him, let's see, what do we got? All right, so we have 3 Fitz, then Hess and Frank's listed on the chart as quarterback. Frank's tight end listed on the quarterback chart as quarterback. Yeah, they're weird with Frank's. Not just the depth chart people, but the Falcons at the moment. They're a little bit weird with him. Three tight ends: Pitts, Ferkser, Fitzpatrick. I'm probably going to strongly agree with that until proven otherwise. Cordero's outside receiver. I like that as well. But I also like keeping him a mystery. Makes sense to be listed as ETH. Carlson does not need to be at the running back position at all. He was like one of the best. He was sneakily one of the best running backs, even though he didn't have like the the numbers, you know, he was a sneaky good running back. Got Floyd Donnelly. How's it going? Good thing I'm remembering the pronunciation. So if you're just meeting us here, we have about less than 18 slots left on our roster. We need to figure out our offensive line. We've only had 2 locked in answers. Everyone else, out of like, who would you want? Like, how many would you want there? Like 8. So that's probably going to be the bulk of our conversation at the moment. We were talking about outside receivers, like our fourth string receiver. We're talking about our third string tight end. Like, this was the nitty gritty that I was actually going to try to get into with Trey. And so, yeah. I think at the moment, like, Cordero Patterson can only be the X factor when you have the luxury of placing him anywhere, you know. So I get that right now that we have him listed as a running back 2 and nothing more, but in our hearts, he's always going to find a spot on the field, right? Whether that is outside receiver, whether that is slot receiver, whether that is in the backfield. I want to keep every option for him open, although I don't want to burn him out and have so much of a heavy workload on him, because it's not good for him at his stage in his career. I wouldn't even mind if Zacchaeus was the slot and if Edwards is the 4. So it's like if Edwards was taking place of London in case he were to go down, is that how you have it? And then Tate take the number 2 option, which would be Zacchaeus. Or no. No. So you're saying if Auden Tate goes down, or no, if Cordell Patterson goes down, then you put Auden Tate there. Haven't heard you mention Frank Darby as an outside game. We haven't heard much of Frank Darby at all, other than the questions that they post on the on social media. It's really hard to just like hand him a slot anywhere at the moment, you know. Much with a lot of these guys that we're talking about, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty with optimism in mind, but there is still a good chunk of uncertainty. So, not saying that he can't. I would want him to become that option and just have a breakout season. But am I going to automatically hand him that another spot? I could. So if you want me to put Damiere Byrd at the backup in the slot and then try to fit Frank Darby somewhere. Right. You come like, all I know is Darby is apparently the funniest guy on the team. And while that is a good morale boost, that's not going to tell me if he's the hardest working guy in the position room. So these are the difficult questions. So let's just kind of write these names down somewhere. I think we'll put. So we've been talking about Frank Darby. We've been talking about Felipe. Felipe Franks. We've been talking about Fitzpatrick. Parker Hess. And then obviously with one. Right, so we're talking about him. Just get the wide receivers. All right. Hodge is also a good slot guy too to have some of the burner. Now, all right. Cameron Batson. Get Tyshawn James. All right, so that's there. The reason why I say no to Dakota at running back is because we have Algier taking the Devontae Freeman role, Damian Williams that Tevin Coleman role, and run Quadri Allison and also Avery. Oh yeah, Avery Williams. We haven't even talked about him. Let's include him. Very Williams, and then obviously Quadri, and then Damian Williams. Whew. There's already more names that we have available. Now you were saying Edwards, Pitts, Tate, Phineas. Oh, you're talking about Braden Lenius. Yeah, let's get him in the mix, I guess. And while we're adding him, Tucker Fisk is here. All right. Offensive line. You know, at the moment I've been really hesitant on this, so let's get Mary here. I know I have him listed as the second stringer, but this is where I'm just going to list the rest of the names on offense. Jalen Mayfield. Broke back. Let's see. This is where it's starting to get a little thin. All right, I'm going to have to keep that there. What's the possibility of keeping 8 receivers in the 53-man roster? I think we're about to find that out the hard way, like right now. Because it is already getting difficult with the amount of slots we have left and then the positions that we haven't even talked about yet. I mean, heck, we haven't even talked about our second punter, with his either Bradley, Kenyon, or Seth Vernon. Cool. There's no need to have another. Add his full name. I don't know why I was just skipping him. So with everything else still here, as it is, there's a couple of names that we haven't even listed on second string either. Man, this got this got difficult. Way too fast. All right. I think at the moment I have to mention McGarry, Hennessy, and then Mayfield as starters until proven otherwise. But I still need to mention guys like Jermaine Nafetti and Elijah Wilkinson and Justin Schaefer. So I think I'll have them take these slots here. So I'll put them there. And possibly with McGarry, I think I'll put Manafetti there. Obviously, we have Drew Dahlman. Gosh. And then Mayfield, I think I'll put there. Schaefer, I don't know how to properly. All right, Elijah Wilkinson. Who the heck is going to be? I forget Tyler Vrabel. Right. I think we'll just be ending up the same starting five for the season for continuity reasons. I do think if it's a crap show during the season, yeah, you might see a trade / signing. Free agency tracker is still at our disposal. All else fails. Also, trades are still a thing too. Although I don't know who's going to be the team that has like enough depth in order to feel comfortable starting or trading away their like a starting offensive lineman, especially if they're any good, you know. Right. How many names does this give us? I think just in this month alone we have 28. Right? 28, 27, 26, 25. I think just in second stringers alone on offense we have 25 names. Oh my gosh. 25 names there. We have 11 names here. That puts us at 36 names. And then adding 37, 38, 39. Yeah, 40 names there. Starting 11 would put us at 51. All right. Now, right. I jeez. I can't even remember the last time that was a trade, you know? Like I can't remember like a mid-season trade where just someone just went with offensive lineman. Keith Smith. Thank you so much. I haven't that's another name I forgot about. You did not make my job any easier. All right, that's the most amount of names I'll put there. You know, it's man, I guess. All right, so it's technically 12 players on the field. Whew. All right, no more fullbacks. All right, that's already that's a one size fits all position rank right there. So, I think right now my question is going to be how is this conversation making you feel about the roster at the moment? Does it give you less hope? Does it give you more hope? Do you think it creates problems? Let's see if we can start that conversation. And while we're doing that, I don't know how long it's been since and that. So, just gonna put that back up again. Anthony Rush gonna back up Keith Smith. You know what? Don Terry Post style. I'll take that. I will take that. Just whew. We have the refrigerator. We have man, I can't remember if Dontari Poe had a nickname or not. But that big fella deserved one. Let's see. All right. So saying it shows competition at every position. I do agree. But is it the type of competition that you want to see? Or is it just like we're just putting two duds up against each other and we're trying to see who's the lesser of the two evils, you know? Because I can see that conversation be to be had with some people. It's all going to hinge on what it always does with the team, how it's pass rush, and how's the offensive line holds up, and can they stop the run this year? Which all important questions to ask, and I think that they've spent the most amount of free agency, or this most amount of this offseason trying to answer those questions. Some say indirectly, but they have answered them. Yeah, 3rd and goal. Hit big fella. This Falcons team is going to be a lot better to be projected. And I don't give a darn. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we had to tell the outsiders not too long ago about what we actually feel about this team. So, come on, guys. Come on, bots. Come on. Come on, bots. You know better. You know better than that. So, we can either keep this information the way it is, save it for next week so that we can have Trey back on the show, or ask a few more of these questions, see whatever else you have to offer me, and then we will have probably about like another like 10 or so minutes until we end this one. What do we say? Because I was trying to have this only be like an hour long. But given the conversations that we can have, you know, and how many looming questions remain, I can keep all this here and save it, so we don't have to just like grind out this conversation for like another couple of hours. So sound like a plan? Everyone else agree? What are we thinking? Just keep it. Have Trey back. Possibly have Vlad. If you're willing to join us next week, Jarvis, if you're still in here, if you'll be able to join us, I think that the more the merrier in this conversation. Get more heads. We got Money in the Bank and UFC. Fair enough. All right. Well, awesome. I share the same sentiment. So we'll stash this away, and we'll see how we'll go from here. Sorry, man. But I had to start this one early because I had somewhere to be too. So that's okay. We're gonna end this one now. You can get back to watching all your other fights. Enjoy your 3-day weekend, the other one. And that should do it for us.